Hey everybody, welcome to episode 9 of Let's Get Cinematic. If you don't know, this is a movie podcast, and every episode we discuss a different movie. And for this episode, we're discussing 2001's Valentine. And I'm joined by Jacob Black and Jason Hester, who is wearing a blonde wig.
Hi, bitches. Yeah, I figured since it was Valentine's Day, I would get dressed up and support the women.
There you go.
So,
Goodness.
yeah, so this movie, I actually think it's one of the better kind of like post-Scream slasher movies. So basically, like, when Halloween came out in the 70s, it kind of spawned a bunch of, like, sort of copycat movies, like Friday the 13th, and, I guess, like, Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, all the slashers started booming because, like, Halloween came out. And then the slashers kind of died a little bit, and then Scream came out, and sort of suddenly everybody wanted to make the next Scream. Like, back in the 80s, everybody wanted to make the next Halloween, and now in the late 90s, everybody's like, we need the next Scream. So this movie was sort of like a response to that sort of thing. This is sort of like one of those like Scream-inspired sort of slasher movies. But I think it's one of the better sort of like Scream rip-off type things.
I got my qualms, but I agree with you.
Yeah, same. Definitely had that same feel.
So, I guess before we get really into it, I guess what do you think of it without like sort of spoiling anything?
I liked it. Like you said, I thought it was well put together. That's my overall. There is some qualms and stuff with it, but for the most part, I thought it was well executed. It was good to bring back that kind of Valentine's Day slasher, and that goes into also a plus and a con that I had for it.
Yeah, I felt about the same way. I thought it was really solid. Like, environments, music, and everything. It all came together pretty good. But like Jason said, I also have my problems with it too. But we'll get into that later.
Yes, I guess if you guys have not seen Valentine, you can pause the video now, go watch it, and then come back and listen to us talk about it. So like the music, like I did want to bring that up, so I'm kind of glad you said that. It kind of helped segue. The music was done by Don Davis, who is like one of the best sort of like people at that time doing music. He did music for the Matrix trilogy also.
Yeah, he also did Beauty and the Beast, Jurassic Park 3, and Die Hard 2.
Dang.
Yeah. I think he does, like, his scores are usually pretty good.
Yeah, oh, definitely. When I see his name, I'm always interested in what interpretation and take he's going to apply to that type of genre.
Oh, yeah. Well, Kody, you okay there?
Yeah, that was a lot of smoke just now.
Yeah, a little bit.
Right?
Goodness.
But yeah,
we need one of those podcast hookahs. Sorry, I drew a blank.
Bubblegum. This is Bubblegum Kush Delta 8.
Ooh. Little product plug there.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I'm telling you, man, you're going to have to get them to sponsor.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
There's a bunch of different companies, but I've been using this one the most here lately.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I did like Don Davis's score for this. I thought it was eerie. It added that, definitely building up the tension. I think he kind of geared that up in certain places. He kind of kept it quiet too. I did like that.
Yeah, his scores are always kind
I
of
think that was well
subtle.
executed. Now, no, the yeah, subtle but effective. Yeah. Now, did you notice that the soundtrack itself had like Rob Zombie on it, Static
Yeah,
X,
yeah, and
Deftones?
Disturbed.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, it was
Orgy.
perfect for the time. Yes.
Yeah, this was a very 2000, like this was a very, very late 90s, early 2000s movie for sure.
Yes. So good. I loved it.
But that's a killer track. But I'm glad they didn't rely on it for the movie. They
Yeah,
did,
yeah, even
primarily go with John
yeah,
Davis.
yeah, even like
Yeah.
the licensed music isn't too loud. It usually plays low. You can barely hear most of the licensed songs in this movie. They're kind of just in the background always.
Yeah, just kind of add to the environment. Yeah, like the party and stuff. It kind of has
Yeah.
that, like the volumes, like, to where, like, party volume, as they get closer to it, it's louder. They get, further
Yeah,
away, it's, a little
I
more
think the
quiet.
party scenes are probably the scenes where you hear the soundtrack music the most. You do hear it a little bit in other scenes too, but it's always lower in the other scenes.
Yeah, I think that was well executed. 'Cause I mean, it adds that more realistic environment way it would be if we were at a home party, et cetera, et cetera. Instead of like in your face trying to sell, Rob Zombie for the movie or which have you licensed music is in there.
Yeah, because they could have been like, okay, yeah, we have to license this. We're just going to throw it in every single second we can just because we can.
There's movies like that for sure, though.
Charge! We're gonna take this beach. Hey, since we're on the technical side of things, I'm not sure. Did you watch the Shout Factory version, Cody?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, good, because I felt like they did a nice job on the 2K scan for it.
Yeah, yeah. I was
I
told
felt like the photography in the movie wasn't. Go ahead.
I read somewhere that like when they did this Blu-ray, like before this, like the movie didn't look this good. Like I heard this Blu-ray's the best the movie has ever looked. I guess like the older releases, the transfer wasn't as crisp, I guess.
Yeah, I read that too, and I think that encouraged me to pay more attention to it on this aspect, kind of deep diving into it. But I think the 2K scan was great. The photography in the movie was, a little bit, but I know that it had, with the 2K scan, you see a lot more of the low contrast colors. The visual upgrade was good, and it showcased a lot of deep blacks. And I think that really, especially with those low contrast colors, I think that really popped the movie and helped that.
Absolutely.
Oh no. Jason was freezing up a little.
What?
Uh-oh.
Are we
Must
okay now?
be. Yeah, it's my hairspray. That cheap shit never works out for me, bitches.
And then there was actually
Well, I was gonna say too, while we were on the Shout Factory, just real quick, was Devin Whitehead did a new poster art for that movie, and I really liked that. That was really cool. I seen a bunch of variations, which was really cool out there. And of course, the one they went with wasn't bad, but I had a qualm with that, which I got a female perspective on it with Sue Ann, which we can deep dive into that later on the reveal with the killer.
So,
but
this is the cover art.
Yeah, such a beautiful. He always does pretty good work, but that definitely is awesome.
Yeah, it does look nice.
We're trying to get.
And if you just Googled, I don't have the standard version cover, which isn't bad, like I said, because you got to showcase the actors and stuff like that on there, help the movie sell, get people's interest. But for the intelligent audience, and they want to look at something and go, oh man, that's interesting, scary. I usually am a little picky about poster art, but that was great. I really liked his version of that, and he went with a lot of the blues instead of the deep reds. So pretty unique choice. So I just want to touch base on that for Devin. Great job.
Right, you would think he would go for more red since it's a Valentine movie, and he didn't.
Yeah, but I like it, man. It really just pops and just it just hits on point. When every time I see it, and I like there's a couple, like I said, there's 4 different variations of the poster. Of course, the studio went with the one they marketed with 100%. When they went to video, etc.
Yeah, I actually like this new one better than that one.
Yes, yeah.
So
I'm just saying,
the
even
original,
though they do a lot of reds in the standard, the Devin Whitehead is just
Jake,
so much better.
The original cover art is sort of like, it's like the mask, like the cherub mask, but it's like in paper form with
I may have it handy. Hold on a second.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's like in paper form with some writing on it.
Okay, I don't know. I might have seen it before, in passing, a long time ago. But yeah, it looked familiar. I'd recognize the mask, but I'd never seen the movie. So yeah, I'd say it's pretty notable.
Yeah, let me bring that version up real quick. I'll show you some variation ones too that I liked.
Yeah.
So one thing I think this movie,
but yeah, I agree with.
One thing I think was kind of cool about this, they sort of did the Scream thing of having the first person kill be one of the biggest names in the movie. Where in Scream, the first victim is Drew Barrymore, and this it's Katherine Heigl, who was probably more known than the other actresses in this movie, but they killed her off first, sort of with Drew Barrymore in Scream. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's a standard they went with, but like he was saying, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But hold on, I'm trying to find a good spot so you can see it.
Oh yeah.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard.
Your phone's screaming off. Yeah, timed out.
But
right there.
There we go.
Yeah.
So like he said, they got the mask. The other one has just the mask. But of course they went with this one, and so it showcases the cast and stuff on there.
Yeah,
I'll deep dive into something about that later that I thought was an issue, but she said that wasn't really. I got a second opinion on it because I thought what the hey, but I just thought it was kind of why would you do that? And I'll deep dive into that later.
Yeah.
But, where's that sweet spot?
Oh.
There we go.
Oh, there you go.
That one's cool.
Yeah.
That one was cool.
Ooh, that's freaky.
That one was actually really decent too for a Valentine's type feel for it.
Yeah, definitely. You got the red on there. It's just, oh my gosh.
And that was another fan art that was pretty cool. Kind of has that My Bloody Valentine with the heart.
Yeah.
In there,
yeah.
But yeah, overall, just real quick, I prefer, there's a lot of great ones there, but I like over the standard one they went with the Devin Whitehead for Shout Factory release.
Yeah,
like I said, I'll get in my qualm with what I thought was a qualm. I want to get each of your opinion on that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
later on when we get to the reveal,
I did think it was pretty interesting though that they had Katherine Heigl be the first victim because she was one of the bigger named actresses in the movie. I think her and Denise Richards are probably the biggest 2 actresses in the movie. But I thought it was kind of like a Drew Barrymore type thing where you think, oh, Katherine Heigl is going to be the main character. Sort of
yeah, exactly.
Sort of how
you're right, totally right. They went on the Scream thing, having Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, I just thought the kind of opening sort of sequence was pretty interesting with that aspect of it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And I
thought, it definitely set the mood.
And her date, Like that scene cracks me up at the beginning.
Yeah,
Oh
that
yeah.
was awesome. Yeah, that was
Dating?
hilarious.
Oh gosh.
That dude was such a douchebag. You know, I do like that aspect about this movie, that it shows you how men are such douchebags.
Yeah,
You know,
it
not all
shows
of
you
us,
the
and
other
not even all
it
the
shows
characters, but
you the opposite
Yeah.
perspective that like some slasher movies don't really show that.
yeah, definitely through the female's eyes. You know, and it's
Yeah.
why I got the wig on for sport.
Right.
I did like that. They did showcase a lot of the douche lines, and even when the dudes weren't so douchey, like in your face, like that dude was with Katherine Heigl, it still just showcased, you know, from that point of view. I did like that. That wasn't typical in normal slashers, because they all are kind of like they tend to dumb down the women, add this typical thing to them. They're all like, you know, itching to be horny and whatever, and that adds an aspect to certain movies, you know, like Friday the 13th. So it's a element that definitely works, but for all of them,
and this is another one of those slasher movies.
I don't want it to be so typical.
This is another one of those slasher movies that doesn't have nudity in it, and it's not even really noticeable. You don't even think about it, really.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
Sort of like My Bloody Valentine.
And also,
yeah, it definitely relied on the content to carry the movie, which I did like.
yeah. And also, with, like, I know we were talking about the whole speed dating scene. Like, I liked how they added comic relief into the movie, because normally these horror, like, slasher films are just all, you know, all action, all serious all the time. But, like, at least, you know, it took some little breaks, and it just, you know, had some funny parts, and it didn't really feel like jarring or out of place. It just, you know, made sense.
That
in
was
context.
That was definitely the sort of Scream influence, because Scream is sort of like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true.
A lot of the slasher,
I definitely like the whole.
A lot of the slasher movies from this time were kind of doing that with like little bits of comedy, because they were all sort of like, they all wanted to be Scream in this time period. So there's a lot of Scream clones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I like how they did have like that nerdy story, him being shunned into revenge. Of course, adds to that mystery, like the prom night. I did like the story setup. That was really cool, and it does give this homage salute to, you know, the movies in the '80s. You know, like Slaughter High, etc. Prom night. I think at times it tried too hard to be '80s, and you can't never just duplicate that '80s flavor. You know, that charisma from it. So that was a takeaway, but I did like the '80s salutes to it and how they went about the approach. The story was well designed on keeping it a mystery, and we've all been picked on, and especially from a woman's perspective there, and from a guy's perspective as an audience.
Yeah,
you kind of get
you actually
both
do
of
get
those.
Yeah, in that opening scene, you do get both of those perspectives because of the two kids.
True. And like, I don't know, like I was thinking that like the you know, the nerdy kid with the glasses who, you know, of course gets the crap beaten out of him and everything in the beginning, like what was he that Jason guy that like was really creepy on that on the date? Or is that just supposed to be like, oh, you know, subversion sort of thing?
Oh yeah,
they're
that's
like trying to make you believe it's him and then he's the killer.
So did you not like get the ending?
What? I mean, no, I was talking about like the beginning.
He was saying how probably they added so the color, the hair, the features of the nerdy kid fit more the douchebag Jason than it did the actual reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
I thought so. What he's saying was that a nice subversion from even that one guy that looks similar to Jason later on, about 3/4 of the movie. that he gets in a scene with Denise Richards.
Oh,
He
the
even kind
Brian
of fit
guy?
the look from the kid. Yeah, Brian. And did you think that? Do you think that the actors were memorable in this? Because I feel like they casted okay, and like he said, they're doing the kind of the screen casting um, to what was popular at the time. But I feel like all the characters could have been kind of easily replaced, especially David Bourne as the who plays the killer. Go ahead and throw that spoiler out there, but I feel like he played it well, where he's kind of like strong, kind of douchey, kind of not caring, kind of not drinking, kind of bad boy type thing in that scene. So you don't have high suspicions for him, but they did touch base on suspicion for him, like Jacob was saying, leading you to believe it's him, or is it this guy, et cetera, et cetera. But do you guys both, I wondered what your opinion was. Do you think he was rememberable, or he was totally just born for the role, or do you think he was easily replaceable?
I think he's a good actor. I thought he was like probably pretty good as that character. Like, I didn't really have any issues with that.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
And actually,
and the other thing I had with that qualm with the poster was they put him right there. He's the only guy on the poster. And I was like, man, that's kind of ballsy to put him right there on the poster. You know what I mean? You really focus in on it. So I kind of I felt like that was giving it away maybe. But I got a second opinion from Sue Ann, and she was like, no, she didn't think so. She thinks so. It was smart because they're trying to showcase, advertise the star power in the movie. David apparently was up and coming at that time.
yeah.
I really didn't follow his work. Okay, and from a woman's perspective, I'm not like, oh, this dude's a hunk and this dude's not, or Dawson Creek this and
I was actually going to
whatever.
ask you.
But
I was actually going to ask
I
you
didn't
about
have that aspect to that.
I was going to ask you about that actually, because I was telling Jacob, like, he was pretty big in that time period, but like me and Jacob weren't really old enough in that time period to pay attention to culture. So at that time, like, he was kind of like one of those guys that like girls swooned over, wasn't he? Like, in that little time period, I think.
Yeah, and it was cool getting that. Yeah, it was cool getting that perspective from her about that, because we all know we're like, okay, they casted a attractive guy. They're appealing to the audience, definitely of the female genre, but or category. But I felt like, he's kind of replaceable, and she felt so too. But yet she understood why they were using him, and yeah, she actually felt like he wasn't really that memorable, but she liked him in the role.
Oh yeah, I thought he was memorable.
Said that putting him on the poster wasn't a big deal, but he was showcasing the movie. Of course, he was up and coming. He did have that attractiveness that women was Googling over. Coding was totally right on that. So that's something we would never pick up on or know. We'd just be like, whatever.
There's actually something funny. There's actually a funny line in this movie that I know it has to be, like, it's definitely like a reference. So at the party, she's like, yeah, Adam's no angel, but he's not a murderer. Because David played.
Oh my god!
David played the character Angel on Angel and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That had to have been. They had to have. That was very like. That had to have been like a. There's no way that reference. Wasn't. Yeah.
Definitely Easter egg, I guess.
Yeah, it had to have been.
Oh gosh, yeah. Oh yeah.
I did, and this is the first time
on that.
Yeah, this is actually the first time I picked up on that like little line. I never thought about it until this viewing of it.
Yeah, I honestly didn't pick up on it either before until this
Yeah.
viewing.
Yeah, because at the party she does say that she's like, he's no angel, but he's not a murderer.
And again, I guess it just went back to the fact that I wasn't like all Google eyes like chicks were over this dude, and I knew who he was, and whatever kind of with the career, but at the same aspect, it was just like those kind of things I didn't. So probably when I watched it several times before, I was like didn't pick up on it because when her and I had the conversation then about him and that whole aspect we just discussed, then I felt caught on to that little innuendo of the angel comment. And I thought what do you guys think about because this was something debatable with, fans or even, different audiences. What do you think of the killer look? Because in my opinion was I liked it. I thought the Cupid face worked. They did it well with the black, kind of like the Giallo killers in the Italian horror movies. But I kind of liked the look. I didn't think it was, what would you say, too cheesy or too plain. I thought it was kind of spooky too, so I think it added a creepy thing. So
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to get on here and talk to you guys about your opinions.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think this is like an iconic look. Like this is an iconic kind of slasher look. Like I think this particular like slasher has like an iconic sort of image for the killer. And yeah, it does, like his outfit does remind me of like Giallo killer outfits. Like there's like some shots where you see like his sleeves and holding the knife, and that looks like a very Giallo shot. Like especially in the in the morgue, like in the college morgue at the beginning, when he's like going through holding the knife, and you get that shot of like his hand like near the hospital bed. Like it looked like a Giallo shot right there.
Yeah, exactly. I thought so too. I like that little feel. So, me being a fan of those movies, that was very attractive for me to watch. Be sucked into the movie. And of course, you got that mystery of who the killer is. That's common in a lot of the Italian slasher movies.
Yeah, because a lot of the Giallo movies, the characters usually wear, like the killer usually wears like a black outfit with black gloves. Like it's always like that. That's just how they always are kind of designed.
Black collar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like black coat type collar with the black hat, this whole pieces and, Tenebrae and all that stuff. Great movies, by the way. What'd you think, Jacob? Do you think the look was impressive or lame or, I've heard all kinds of opinions.
Oh yeah, I thought it was pretty iconic. Like I said, I knew I'd seen that mask before and kind of like knew about it even before I'd like ever seen the movie. So yeah, I'd say if just a normal person could like kind of or just a regular person who hadn't seen the movie yet or whatever can like recognize it even before seeing it, then I'd say it's a pretty iconic look. They did a good job on it.
And I think also Kody really touched base on this, being the marketing kind of off of the Scream basis for the movie, and a lot of movies at that time on that bandwagon. Having that mask, if it would have been like triple successful than what it was, it could make sequels. And like in each Scream movie, you could have a different killer, and they could pull that off because the mask would be like the ghost face. You don't know who's doing it, but it is iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually, this is one of those movies where I'm kind of surprised it didn't get like a sequel, because this is very much feels like a franchise kind of movie, but it's just standalone. I always thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially since we know that the killer, of course, is alive at the end.
Oh my god, yeah.
A little twist there.
Yeah, I feel like
that set up some sequels.
I feel like the ending is kind of like a chilling kind of final moment.
They constructed that scene real well because it does. You're not scared to death, but you just got that creepy, chilly feeling like
right before.
It comes out on the news that this dude was a serial killer, and you're like, man, 2 years ago I lived next to that dude. That's just, you get that feeling like, oh my god.
Because
Oh,
like
yeah.
at that point, we think the killer's been stopped. We think like it feels like the movie's wrapping up. This is the happily ever after, and then boom.
Yeah, you see the blood.
Yeah, and it was very viable that Dorothy was the killer, because Sue Ann is great about picking out the killer, and even though she did at the beginning, she's pretty good about that. She was a little put off with that scene because it did fit. She was kind of nerdy too, and then trying so hard to fit in with these, girls that are real uppity or what have you, trying to be that high scale type of person, and she's all friends with them, but yet she seems more down to earth and humble, but more on the side of not a Valley California girl cheerleader or what have you. So I thought that element, little twist, did him switching up the body with the clothes and the mask was pretty cool.
Definitely. Gave weight to the twist there, some more subversion to the very last second.
And like kind of what
And
makes what makes it so effective, the ending, is because we see like basically just about every kill we do see the killer's nose start, we see the blood kind of leaking through the nose hole after every kill, and so then when we see that at the end, it makes it more like, oh shoot.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to ask you guys too, is what I really like the whole nervous nosebleed, because I remember someone knew someone that actually they would do that.
Oh.
If they get real nervous, they'd get a nosebleed. I forget what it's called, but I thought that was wild they added that in there, because each kill he does it because I guess he's getting nervous or he's getting excited. I don't know, but
I guess it
I thought that was a great.
I guess it did happen
great addition.
I guess it kind of did happen, it was like an emotional thing that caused it.
Yeah, because it happened when he was a kid, and he didn't do it until everything got under pressure.
Yeah,
when he's a kid, and then in the scenes with David throughout the movie, he doesn't do it. But when he's killing, or he finally gets the girl at the end and pulled it off, his emotions are at a high, and he starts, having the nosebleed.
Yeah,
but that was original. I mean, you don't see that nowhere else,
no.
And that's a little trademark, watermark through the whole movie, that you're like, all right, which one of these, or a nose bleeding or whatever, you're trying to really pick up on that, because that's a definite clue of solving who it was. So I did like that. And it was so creepy and subtle that it dripped on her face, and there he was. Did you like that, Jacob, how they kind of added that? You think that was original?
Oh, definitely. It's almost like an MO of sorts, just kind of like a little quirk that, would kind of identify them. And yeah, it was interesting.
Because, they didn't have to put that in there. I mean, that's totally kind of what makes the reveal work and so creepy, but that was pretty creative, I think,
Yeah.
What do you think about, Jacob, on the rewatch value of it now that you know the reveal? Because there's so many movies I love that is mystery of who the killer is, etc. And when you finally find out, it's like, oh, and you rewatch it, you already know. But I love rewatching those, and there are certain movies that the reveal, I don't like rewatching them. So what did you think, you being your first time viewing on it?
Well, I feel like I could probably rewatch it just to kind of see little subtleties and stuff in him, just to kind of see did he do anything in before that would identify him, just kind of be like, oh yeah, there it is, that's, I should have seen that, coming before, how did I not know? Yeah, so that can make it rewatchable even with knowing the twist ending. But yeah.
Yeah, every time I watch it, I'm always I'm waiting for the drop at the end, the little blood drop at the end. I'm like, oh, there it is. because I already
Yep.
because I already know who it is. I'm just like waiting for that every time now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so too. It definitely got a. What do you call that? You're kind of the investigator. That your multiple viewings or your second time viewing, like, all right, that they got to give this, shit away somewhere, and then you try to see if the filmmakers made a mistake or not, or how they piece that up well. So true. I
Definitely.
thought my favorite character in there, because I'm not a big, Katherine Heigl's awesome, but I'm not a big Denise Richards fan, and we touched base on that before in another movie. Um, I don't know what the big thing is with her, her acting. I just feel ain't on point. I don't know why guys are just like oodling over her either. I mean, yeah, she's attractive, and she does perfectly casted for the movie to fit that kind of stuck up persona that she gives off. But what'd you think? Because my favorite character was Dorothy, which was played by Jessica Capshaw.
Um,
Big Denise Richards fan. You think she did all right? I mean, she kind of fit the role, in the movie, but I don't know. She just kind of gets on my nerves sometimes.
yeah, she did okay, I guess. I see what you're saying, though. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Even the detective cop, she's sitting there flirting with him, and then you're like, okay, is she? It felt like they were trying to set up like maybe she's doing it because she's trying to find out information where he's at and solving it or whatever. But I totally just didn't believe it. Her acting is usually just pretty flat. I'm not trying to be rude about it because she's got a resume far much better than mine, of course. But I just really latched onto the character of Dorothy, of how she does kiss him underneath in the gym hall, and because she's wanting to be liked like them and have that experience with boys like them, and her constant trying to fit in with them, what she does, but she doesn't throughout the movie, and just her emotional level of that, because I think I can relate to that, trying to be an outcast, fitting in, but then not changing who you are and what have you. And then, of course, that plays into, like I said, the version at the end that she's the one that did it, and it kind of made sense. But I thought her character was probably the most interesting. I don't know whose character did you guys think were?
Yeah, I'd probably say Dorothy as well. Just like trying to think. So
I
like
think
the
it's
way
because
she
she's
acted.
relatable.
Yeah, for sure. And like I don't know, like it was interesting. She was acting kind of weird about that. The guy she was dating, she wouldn't reveal his last name, or well, she was making it seem like she wasn't going to reveal his last name, but she probably didn't know it in the first place. But she was just acting really suspicious and stuff, and just kind of made you, especially with that ending, like you said, it's like, oh, that would make sense. She did that, just with how her circumstances were and everything. But yeah, I thought she was more like interesting, more like developed character of them all.
Yeah, I
What about you,
think
Cody?
I think she's definitely kind of one of the standouts in the cast. I know, like, when I read a lot of reviews about this movie, they always seem to mention her, like, in every review.
Yeah, she had more
Like a presence.
opportunity for diversity in this role, and getting another female's perspective on it. She kind of agreed, but the other ones had their purpose, because they're the type of chicks or girls that she said that because they portray the douchey guy syndrome in this, but those are like the not Dorothy, but the other girls are the ones that guys want to have sex with, but not be in a relationship with. They're this too much drama and etc. with them, or high maintenance. But the guys oodle after those type of girls, but yet Dorothy, she's that one that you would date, take home to mom, etc., and wasn't busted or nothing. But you could totally see where she just had that diversity, and I thought she was very rememberable. And I guess I liked her performance the most over everyone else's.
Definitely.
Yeah, I feel like I think Denise Richards' like kill scene is pretty like interesting and different. But yeah, I would say probably Dorothy's character stands out more.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to nitpick the high maintenance girls in this because they're there for that reason. That's the character they're playing. So, but it just, to me, they fell flat. But maybe that's what is the intention. I don't know on that one, but
and then
I think so.
A scene, one of the scenes that I think is like one of the most memorable, kind of like iconic scenes in the movie, I think is actually the art gallery scene. Like I think that's kind of like a big, kind of memorable moment.
Yeah, and that's very unusual. You don't see that in a lot of slasher movies, and you could see how someone could drift off by themselves, checking these things out, and leave the group, and the group be in the other room, and them get killed. It was totally believable at that point. Because we all see the slasher movies where the one person leaves. I mean, it's always in the woods. A dude's like, I gotta go pee. He goes pees, gets killed. They go back and kill the girl. There's always some reason they gotta get separated. So I always watch for the cleverness of how they do scenes like that. And I agree, Kody. I think it was really effective there and very memorable.
Like, because you could easily get disoriented in that sort of maze type thing, because like all those images are moving, there's voices playing, there's all kind of like audio cues playing. Like you could get easily disoriented in that big room with all the colors, the voices, the images. Like it definitely seems like a disorienting thing, which was, I think, sort of the point of that artist character was like trying to create some kind of moving sort of piece of artwork. It was like he was trying to get like an emotional response out of the whole thing, but I could easily see them all getting confused in there.
Yeah, definitely like the House of Mirrors or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
I never. Yeah, did you pick up on that, Jacob? He just mentioned something about it being a maze in there, and I didn't really. Yeah, I knew it was a maze, watching it, but I really didn't think about that little element to it. So that was an eye opener just now, Kody. So did you notice that? Like it'd be easy for them to get lost in there trying to move around? Or?
Oh yeah,
definitely. Like you said, it's almost like a funhouse mirror sort of, mirror maze sort of situation. Like you're gonna lose, you could lose your bearings easily if you don't stay with, whoever you're with. Like, yeah, I mean, it looked like it was really dark in there too, except for the screens, and it was like, yeah, it looked really disorienting.
like I could see it as like screwing with somebody with anxiety too.
Yes, there was like a lot of sensory overload.
Yeah, I feel like that would mess
Yeah,
me
definitely.
up.
You can camouflage the killer really well.
If I was walking through that, I feel like it would just mess me up with like anxiety because there's so much going on.
I feel that. I was getting anxious just watching it. It was
Yeah,
that's awesome.
well, it's because those eye close-ups and stuff, and the mouth close-ups.
That was weird. I was just like, oh gosh. Ugh,
well, I think that's supposed to, like, I think what he was trying to do was like, this is the woman's perspective going on a date. She just sees like this big mouth, this big eyes, and it's like saying, like, it's like, because the words it was saying stuff like "love me" and stuff like that. Like it's trying to. That's sort of like what the woman would see looking at the man. And then the other tunnel was sort of like how the guys see the women from their point of view.
Yeah, on the object visual kind of point of view. That's true, because I've heard instances where, like, they even use this at the beginning scene with that douchebag Jason. But I've heard girls be on dates and they're like, "Oh, everything was great until he got this thing stuck in his teeth," and then just I couldn't get that out of my head. It was like, nope. And then sometimes I'm like, man, that's just just circumstances that happen. Give a brother a chance,
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
sure.
but that kind of plays a part in what Cody's saying with their different perspectives in there.
Yeah. Because, like,
True.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are sort of very superficial and vain. And so I think this movie kind of really shows that too, a little bit. Like, I don't know, there's more going on in this than other slasher movies from like a thematic angle, even just like the themes and stuff. This has like way more going for it than a lot of slasher movies. Cuz it has like more to say, it feels like.
Yeah, and women's got like a line, a phone book full of creeps that's always, throughout their life, from childhood on, that's, creeped them out and followed them, want their number and what have you. And we don't really get that. Just like,
Yeah.
most of the time leaving a place, Sue Ann's like, "You got the door unlocked," and I'm just like, "Yeah," and I usually just flip the handle and it, the key fob causes it to unlock. That's just how I do things. And she's like, "Well, you're definitely a guy, because all of us women are ready to get it unlocked and whatever, because we don't know who's following us to ask us out, who's actually just stalking us, sitting in the car, not making themselves known. And it's like we got to be able to get in and get out, or out of the situation pretty fast." And it was like, I never thought about that. That is totally on point and true. So you get kind of a lot of that where you've got these attractive guys in there for them in this movie, but then the one of them is the creepy dude, and you've got, or the killer, and you've got some that are kind of creepy, then douchey, then whatever.
And this
so
movie,
from their point of view, it does give you that put yourself in their shoes type thing of like, okay, this, I can see how this could get complicated.
this movie kind of shows guys that would be considered attractive as creeps too, like showing that like even like the people that are supposed to be like the pretty faces doesn't really mean they're all that great.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of pretty face, I definitely love my hair today.
Yes, it looks great.
These curls was a bitch to get. I mean, I get one of those $200, Ulta.
Well, at first, I thought maybe
whatever.
I thought maybe you were going with
that
like
one thing.
I thought maybe you were going with a blonde wig because of the Cherub mask has like blonde hair on the mask.
Yeah, that'd be cool. No, I was just like, yeah, we gotta do a Valentine special here.
Looks like you are trying to cosplay Dorothy, so
that's true. I didn't think about that. My favorite character, yeah.
Well,
shit, I'm Team Dorothy all the way, bitches.
Yes.
I actually thought Lily and Kate kind of looked almost too similar. In some way, they're the two characters I think
that
almost looked too similar. To where the other girls all had a very different look, but those two looked, I don't know. It was kind of odd.
I agree with that. You could almost get them mixed up at times.
Yeah. Where I thought maybe the casting choice, maybe they should have tried a little bit harder to find somebody different, even though she played the part. I feel like they all played the part fine, but with those two characters, I feel like you could have had somebody else maybe fill in for one of them to kind of give them more of a distinct look.
Yeah, you're right about that. I didn't notice that either before, but totally. Look at Kody catching those cookie crumbs.
Right. So I don't know
Somebody
if
called the
you
fire department.
I don't know if you guys also knew this, but this movie's based on a book, and the book is like 95% different. They really changed.
Oh wow, did not know that.
Yeah, I bought the book a couple years ago, and I never read it. I still just have the book. I well, like I almost feel like I could only read the book in February, and then every February comes along, and I'm like too busy to read it. So I just keep putting it off till the next year. I don't know if I'll ever read it.
What, did you buy like a pair of boxers that you never wear? Is this like this is a thing with you or what?
But I'm gonna look up the book real quick.
What'd you guys think about the kills? I thought the kills worked in there. I know the shower glass, the shards. You know, that was probably one of my favorites.
That was brutal.
The iron board and the heated iron. I thought that was kind of typical. But the arrows definitely was on point, and the shards. I thought that was cool as get out.
Definitely, you got he's a cherub. He's a god that has bow and arrow. So yeah, he's gotta use it at some point. And also that hot tub kill was crazy.
Yeah, that was a nice little throwback because the beginning. And by the way, they casted the girl to play Denise Richards as a young girl perfect. I mean,
yeah,
was perfect.
That kid.
I did a double take.
That kid looked almost identical to her.
I know, and even sounded like her.
Her attitude.
But what's funny, she said, "I'd rather be." Yeah, and she was like, "I'd rather be boiled alive instead of dancing with you." Are you kidding?
Oh,
and then what's funny is later on, she gets boiled alive. Like,
holy cow!
Gave it back to her.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
That's a good catch.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, he definitely gave it back to her.
Yeah, that kill was crazy because it was going to go three different ways. She was either going to drown, or he was going to impale her with the drill, or finally she just got electrocuted / boiled alive.
Yeah, it was one of those kills where you didn't really know how it was going to end.
Literally.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it again, they set you up pretty good because it made it unique because you're thinking it's about to go this way, then it's going that way, and then ta-da! And it's kind of the punchline back to when they were kids,
Yep. Cruel irony.
Well, wasn't there some other? I feel like everything one of the girls said did get brought up or something in some way. All the things they said to him, I think, kind of did.
Yeah.
In some way. Because I think...
Yeah, even with the calling cards.
Yeah, because like...
the Valentine cards.
Because the one that he ended up dating as Adam was the one that was the nicest to him at the dance in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So I always thought that was kind of interesting too. But yeah, I looked up the novel real quick, and the novel came out in 1996, written by Tom Savage, and it doesn't sound anything like the movie. So I think it's kind of interesting that the movie says based on the novel Valentine by Tom Savage when it's got like nothing to do with this. Like, I'm going to read this plot to you guys. So it says Jillian Talbot, which, I mean, by the way, there's not even a character named that in the movie. That as far as I remember. But yeah, it says Jillian Talbot seems to have everything. A lovely home in Greenwich Village, a small circle of close friends, a handsome and passionate lover who has just proposed to her, and a glamorous career as a best-selling author of suspense novels. Her writing has captivated thousands of fans, but she has always been safe from the terrifying scenes she creates. Until now. Somewhere in the shadows of New York City, someone is watching her. He knows her every move, her every fear, almost before she knows it herself. He is as devoted as a lover, courting her in his own mysterious way. leaving notes in her mailbox, gifts on her doorstep, messages on her answering machine. His motives are as cryptic as the name he goes by, Valentine. But his intentions are deadly clear. For Jill Talbot, the terror has just begun. Whenever she runs, he will find her, and soon she will meet him on his terrible day of judgment, his triumphant day, her darkest day, Valentine's Day. This sounds nothing like the movie.
No, not at all. I wonder if they had to credit that because of the title. I remember the '80s with Harrison Ford and Blade Runner, which is a magnificent film, by the way. Ridley Scott did. They actually, it was based on a Philip K. Dick concept of science fiction, and they actually borrowed the name Blade Runner from, I'm pretty sure, a book that had nothing to do with the movie, but they credited it to the guy, and he actually got paid so they could use that title, Blade Runner.
Interesting. Yeah, because I don't quite understand why it says based on the novel Valentine, because it doesn't have much to do with it, other than that it sounds like it's a guy leaving cryptic notes and stuff, though. So that's about as close as it gets to the movie and the book. So it sounds like the movie's very loosely based on the book. Like maybe somebody read the book and they're like, oh, and they got inspired and wrote the movie Valentine after they read the book, and so they were like, we want to credit this guy because his book gave us this idea. It almost feels like it's more like that.
Yeah, that's probably what happened. Because, even like First Blood was based upon a book by David Morrell. And in the end, Colonel Trapman actually kills John Rambo because he realizes he's completely just, disengaged. But Stallone actually talked him into not doing that. And they filmed both scenes, him dying and not dying, and it actually went much better with him staying alive. Of course, that was a damn good decision by Stallone to convince him, because Rambo is Rambo. We wouldn't have that if he wouldn't have did that. So there's certain circumstances where, when they change the book to the movie, it does benefit. I know there's a lot of times you watch a movie and you're like, oh, it has nothing like the book, and the book is better than the movie. It's a typical thing. But in this case, I don't know, man. I guess they just had to pay homage to the guy or give him credit or something for that, because it's just completely different.
Yeah.
Now, other than the aspects you just brought up, but
yeah, I think it's mostly just the fact that it's like an unknown killer on Valentine's Day leaving messages. That seems to be like the only thing they borrowed from the novel based on that description. I think it's kind of...
What if that was a prank?
What?
What if that was like a prank? Like, it was based on a novel, and, those are the people that goes out there and they'll read the books before they see the movie, and then they know who the killer is, and etc. And it'd be nothing like that. I mean, that's the same reason that, Alfred Hitchcock bought up a bunch of copies of Psycho before his movie went out, because he didn't want to give away the killer. And he actually had a lot of the copies bought up out of circulation and then re-released after the movie, but he didn't want them to know the killer, because he's like, people read these books and they'll know what's up. So he, and I think post-production, he ended up having that done. So I wonder, I don't know, maybe that was like a nice little Valentine's Day trick, because people go out and, that movie's based on a book. It's more than just a slasher. Someone actually wrote it, and totally read the book and be like surprised when they get there and see
one
the
thing
movie.
One thing I was thinking might possibly have been the case, like maybe he had this book and it wasn't selling very well, and so he was like, he talked somebody into writing a movie and said based on the book so that way when people watch the movie they'd be like, oh, I need to go buy the book now. Like maybe he was trying to sell the book. Maybe he sold the movie to try to sell the book. like sold the rights to make a movie just so
Could've been.
maybe he could try to sell copies of the book. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, or he was trying to get the movie or get the book made into a movie, and they were like, we got this one script we've been reading that we want to go with, but we kind of want to meld the two together, and maybe that helped him too get the name of him and his book out there. But there's so many cases of that. They'll take a awesome script and they'll meld it in with something else.
Yeah, like it's possible it could have been a a finished script, but they didn't think there was an interesting angle to it, and maybe they added in elements from Valentine when they did another draft of the script and added Valentine's elements into it. That could have been possible too.
Yeah, definitely. Pretty cool.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's about anything I can think of through the movie. If you guys had anything else to add.
Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot else to say either, other than like I just think this is like a really good slasher movie from that time.
Yup, I agree.
Yeah, I concur. I didn't see it for so long either. The kicker is, it's one that I didn't go to theater and see. I didn't see it when it was out. So I got to it late, and thank God no one had ever spoiled it for me, because I didn't know who the killer was and what have you. But yeah, I think overall it was pretty good. I'd definitely rewatch it again, and even though we know who's doing it, I think it's definitely got some rewatch value. Some people don't. I can see why, but yeah, definitely. I think it's overall pretty good.
I think
it's got its own little taste to it. I like the fact that Kody did My Bloody Valentine, 2009, and then this one, because they're all three slashers, and they're all three their own unique movies. But you kind of get this pattern buildup of this Valentine slasher, and even though Valentine is a slasher, I can't place my finger on it. It just got some kind of other feel to it.
It almost feels it almost kind of feels like you took a rom-com cast and put them in a slasher movie.
Pretty much.
It kind of feels like you took a rom-com and a slasher movie and kind of put them together.
Yeah.
Well, then where the hell is Gerard Butler at? I mean, we had Catherine in here. We need the ugly truth.
I don't. Was he even that well known yet in 2001?
Shit, that's a good question.
I think 300 was his kind of break.
So.
Yeah, I think 300 was his breakout.
Yeah, definitely.
And that would have been.
I really didn't know who she was until watching The Ugly Truth, and then afterwards not know. But then when she kind of made it big, it was like, oh yeah, that's it. She was in The Ugly Truth.
I don't think I've seen that one.
But definitely, yeah. Oh man, you got to see that. Gerard Butler's awesome in that. It's got some great, laughable, memorable moments, and he's just but he's charismatic about it. Is what's cool. Is he's such a chauvinist or something, and but he delivers it so well and charismatic that you just don't dismiss him right off the bat. So that's something you do need to watch, Kody.
Yeah,
man, I'm all good to go. I ain't got anything else to add here, guys.
Yeah, I feel like we've kind of really discussed this one, but yeah, I think people should go watch it, and hopefully they watch the movie before they just listen to us kind of just spoil everything.
Yeah, I know, right? We done spilt the cereal bowl before 2 bites.
I don't think this is a good movie to watch. Like, if it's your first time watching it and you already know the outcome, it's not going to be that effective.
Oh, definitely.
This is definitely one of those movies.
No, not at all.
If you go in blind, you'll like it better, I think.
Yeah, 100%. definitely.
But yeah, I guess.
Yeah, if I knew who it was going into it, I would have totally probably been like, you know. But yeah, I think we need to get off here and get my nails done,
Yes.
get my pedicure and shit.
But yeah, I guess that'll do it for this one. If you guys liked this episode, like hit the like button, subscribe, share the podcast. There'll be more episodes coming, and we're already 9 episodes in now. So that's kind of
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
We rock out.
So yeah, next time will be episode 10. So we hope you guys all enjoyed this, and you'll tune in again next time. So yeah, thanks for watching.